Hey everyone, so in this video we're going to go over some turn 1 and turn 2 attack teams. Shout out to Raz for this initial video footage. I personally don't have a very effective turn 1 attack team that utilizes both yellow and blue tunes, and the understanding behind a team like this is extremely important and also a little situational just because of all the different changes that have been made to the game regarding the different leaders that you see and the different types of mod choices that you have to make. You need some very specific tunes to make teams like this work, and it can be quite challenging to make, but the primary tune that you need to make a turn 1 attack team is Dr. Stevens. Without Dr. Stevens, I don't think you can make an extremely effective attack team that could potentially wipe out the opponent's team in one turn, unless you're running a bunch of rampage. And even at that, I prefer a team like this where you're using rushes because it's a higher percentage of damage that is actually being applied. Don't forget everyone to like and subscribe to my channel for more content and information. So to get a team like this to function properly, you need some 8% AP weapons, you need Dr. Stevens, you need 20% AP weapons as well. For Raz's team, Rick has an 8% AP weapon, Dr. Stevens has an 8% AP weapon, and then Arav and Princess have 20% AP to self. These 20% AP weapons to self, along with the 8% AP weapons, ensure that Arav and Princess will end up getting the AP from Dr. Stevens. So when Dr. Stevens gives the 60% AP to both Arav and Princess, it is the exact amount that they need in order to top up to both their 66 and 76 AP rushes. In this last match here, Angel had dazed Dr. Stevens, which prevented him from being able to give that AP on the first turn. But in the previous film, you could see that the AP was always going to Arav and Princess so that they could rush right away. Now, to make a team really effective, you really need to have a leader like Blue Carl. There's a few other tunes that are similar to him that give all tough and fast teammates, plus 40% attack, as well as a huge bonus to AP when attacking. The huge bonus to AP when attacking is a little less important in this case because both Arav and Princess, in this team at least, are getting their AP naturally just by AP manipulation with 8%, 20%, and Dr. Stevens 60% AP. There's really an assortment of different leader tunes that you could use, including Zoo even, or Harrison. Some people might choose to use Zoo in the future just because he does have camouflage on his rush, and as we know, there's being a big upgrade to camouflage, but if the opponent's team is dead on the first turn anyway, it's not going to make that much of a difference. Zoo offers less attack overall, but he's still a viable tune to use. Something else that's helpful with Zoo is that he could hold an 8% AP weapon, so that way you don't need Dr. Stevens with an 8% weapon. So it just gives you a bit more flexibility. Now, ideally with whatever leader tune you're using, you want to get them team player ability on their weapon, which would give plus 15% attack and plus 35 crit to all adjacent tunes. This would help you increase your tune's attack even further in order to make your team more effective. The key piece of this team, as I mentioned, is Dr. Stevens, though. His rush giving 60% AP is a huge amount, so to 66 AP tunes, that's 40 AP, and to 76 AP tunes, that is 46 AP. This means you only need 26 more AP for a 66 AP tune, as well as 30 AP for a 76 AP tune. And a huge bonus to AP just on the individual's weapon is enough in both cases to top up their AP, even if it's for the second turn. But with 20% AP weapons to self, it would actually give you 14 AP for 66 AP tunes and 16 AP for 76 AP tunes. So everything kind of just works out perfectly in your favor, so long as you have the two 8% AP weapons to accompany this type of team. Like, this is my Arav that I'm going to be using, and he actually works fairly well. I don't have the perfect amount of attack on him, and I crafted this 20% AP weapon to self before I got Dr. Stevens. I don't need the huge bonus to AP when attacking, because once he starts to rush, he doesn't really stop. So potentially I could have had an additional 7% attack on this weapon if I had two perfect crafts instead of one imperfect craft, as well as a huge bonus to AP when attacking, but I'm still really happy with this weapon overall. My Princess, I don't have a 20% AP weapon to self-crafted for her, nor do I have one for my Priya. A 20% AP weapon to self could work on either toon. Some people, like Raz, opt to use Princess instead because on turn 2 you can use her normalize ability against all the payback or bide toons available. Like my turn 2 attack team, I utilize Princess and Priya, and Princess is just great with her normalize ability and power, while Priya also has her power ability as well as her active skill, which will be getting more use in the future, I think, because it can remove stuff like camouflage. Depending on the order of your toons, like I did increase rush damage by 10%, but some people might opt to do plus 12% attack to a line of toons, especially if you have your attacking toons in the same line, because that'll affect self and the toon ahead of them or behind. I know some people say the team player plus 15% attack and 35 crit to all adjacent teammates is also good, and it is, especially for the leader, as well as supporting toons even. But because it doesn't give that attack or crit to self, it's a little less useful, in my opinion, on a damage dealing toon. So this next team is actually my film, and I'm just showing you guys how I use my turn 2 attack team. So I attack with Diego and Priya first, so that Diego and Priya get their rushes. I just do a normal attack with Princess. I could always use Princess's normalized skill, or I can attack and then command rush her on a line. I find this team to be pretty effective because I kind of have all my bases covered with control, defense down, taunt, and normalize. There's just a lot of good things with this type of team, and it doesn't work well against like an angel lead because I don't have a daze resist on Doc, but overall it's still solid at taking down normal attack teams. This attack team I'm using right now is kind of like a turn 1 attack team potentially if I can get enough damage out on my Arav. In this case I couldn't, but I saw an attack lead, so I decided to go for it. By using a Victor lead, I obviously lose out on an attack boost, but I have that defense down of 50%. The only time I really use a turn 1 attack team is when I see an attacking leader and I know that I have a shot at actually like one turning them. It doesn't always work just because of my damage output. I need to upgrade Arav more and give him rings, but overall I find it to be pretty effective. Now, my team personally needs a lot of upgrades to it. Now that I'm looking at it visually as well, I should put Diego where Nick is. That way both Priya and Princess would benefit from the team player weapon instead of just Priya and Dr. Stevens, because Dr. Stevens isn't benefiting from it. I find that these turn 1 and even turn 2 attack teams are a little tough to run against teams that have like a Pete lead or an Aaron lead, because they are true defensive leads, even Leopo. And the only reason I'm doing well on this one is because I had the type advantage with both Priya and Princess and had the defense down with Impair, so my control was really strong in simple terms, and I had a decent amount of power as well. This team could be a lot better with better weapons. Like my leader toon definitely doesn't have a team player ability. I don't have 12% to align for Priya, Princess, or anyone else at the moment. My weapons are really underdeveloped in total. I've mentioned this already, but these turn 1 type attack teams, I definitely only want to use them when I see a non-defensive lead, because otherwise I'm going to get caught in war quite a bit, because teams behind a general will also have a 20% defense buff. So I expect this type of team to really only work against teams where I see like a Priya lead as the attacking leader, because a team like that will have relatively low defense and HP. It's going for a fast rushing team that can apply a lot of damage and will try to kill me on the first turn instead of me kill them. So you're just going to see here like I'm unsuccessful with taking down a tanky team like this. Although I'm able to take out Priya pretty easily, Princess I wasn't able to kill, and Gao I barely did any damage. It just doesn't set me up well, especially because Gao with his rush can apply a lot of damage as well as some bleed. If he uses his active skill, he gives AP. So my team is just not favorable in this circumstance. I would go with my regular type of attacking team with a Diego lead instead. Probably still use Dr. Stevens in the team because I don't see a leader like Jackie or Mercer that causes a lot of RNG, or Angel at that. Anyway, guys and gals, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it gave you some ideas on what you can do with Dr. Stevens. Well, what I can do now with Dr. Stevens even. I have a lot of things to play around with, and you can expect to see a lot more of Dr. Stevens in my future matches.